Kingdoms rich in ancient grandeur, halls carved into the roots of mountains, the echoing of picks and hammers in deep mines and blazing forges, a commitment to clan and tradition, and a burning hatred of goblins and orcs. These common threads unite all dwarves. Today, we're talking about dwarves. Hi guys, welcome to Titans of Tabletop. I'm DM Dan.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Ant.
And today, as I said, we're talking about dwarves. We're in our PHB, Player's Handbook. We're going to read the little flavor text they got, give you a little input of what we think about it, and then move on to the stats and do the same. So let's start ahead here. The first thing we see is the picture on the front. What do you guys think about the picture?
Why do they have to just have a female?
Yeah, I thought they should. We were talking about this before, and I thought it should be like a guy dwarf, not to be gender,
Specific.
Yeah, but I always pick a picture of bearded dwarf.
Yeah, because aren't they known about their beards? Like, isn't that what I've always known dwarves to have beards? So
I like the hammer though.
yeah,
I'm more of a hammer dwarf.
if I don't know, there's different ways you could play the dwarf though.
Yeah,
so.
definitely. We'll find out. So first it says here, short and stout. Bold and hardy, dwarves are known as skilled warriors, miners, and workers of stone and metal. Though they stand well under 5 feet tall, dwarves are so broad and compact that they can weigh as much as a human standing nearly 2 feet taller. Their courage and endurance are also easily a match for any of the larger folk. Dwarven skin ranges from deep brown to a paler hue, tinged with red, but the most common shades are light brown or deep tan, like certain tones of earth. Their hair, worn long but in simple styles, is usually black, gray, or brown, though paler dwarves often have red hair. Male dwarves value their beards highly and groom them carefully. So that's what we were talking about, the beards. First off, though, we always thought, the beards.
Yeah, it says it right there.
Personally, I like the, kind of paler skin dwarf with the red hair, kind of like a Viking dwarf.
I can see
Is
that.
what I would pick for if I were to play a dwarf.
I mean, I would go with the brown hair, base sky color. Kind of like, because I picture a dwarf, not only do they have their beards, but they're basically just like a human.
Yeah.
Smaller.
What about you?
Just like a dwarf.
I would
There are dwarves in the
do
world.
like the pale skin, a blackish or dark color, like maybe gray.
Okay. Yeah, and you definitely got to have like those braids going on.
Oh yeah,
in the
braids,
beard
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Any style, but
Next up it says here, long memory, long grudges. Dwarves can live to be more than 400 years old, so the oldest living dwarves often remember a very different world. For example, some of the oldest dwarves living in Citadel Felbar in the world of the Forgotten Realms can recall the day more than 3 centuries ago when orcs conquered the fortress and drove them into an exile that lasted over 250 years. This longevity grants them a perspective on the world that the shorter-lived races such as humans and halflings lack. Dwarves are solid and enduring like the mountains they love, weathering the passage of centuries with stoic endurance and little change. They respect the traditions of their clans, tracing their ancestry back to the founding of their most ancient strongholds in the youth of the world, and don't abandon those traditions lightly. Part of those traditions is devotion to the gods of the dwarves, who uphold the dwarven ideals of industrious labor, skill in battle, and devotion to the forge. Individual dwarves are determined and loyal, true to their word, and decisive in action, sometimes to the point of stubbornness. Many dwarves have a strong sense of justice and they are slow to forget wrongs they have suffered. A wrong done to one dwarf is a wrong done to the dwarf's entire clan. So what begins as one dwarf's hunt for vengeance can become a full-blown clan feud. So what do you guys think about that? They live pretty long. They hold long grudges because of it. You know, they have a lot of time to dwell on stuff. I
Seems
guess.
like they're bitter. A bitter
Well,
race, kind of.
They're not
like,
always bitter, I would say, but
not
they
within
can
each
be.
other.
If you cross them, they can be bitter. You know, definitely.
And it kind
and-
of seems like their clan is kind of like their family.
Yeah.
So they're very
I
family
think goes by
driven.
most.
Yeah. Well, that's next up. It says clans and kingdoms. So in that, I think it talks about that.
One thing I wanted to add was
Would you guys go with an older dwarf or a younger dwarf?
I'll go with an older dwarf.
Older dwarf. He's
Yeah.
seen a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would see the thing with an older dwarf would be that they might not be as in a game. You would think they might not be as agile and as fast. You would have to give them lower dex, maybe. But
Nah. It's just you roll your stats. You don't have to give them lower decks.
I
Well,
mean,
the
out
next-
of the stats you roll, you would give them a lower one because they're
Well,
older. You know what I
maybe.
mean?
Yeah, maybe.
So I would go probably like about where they mature.
Okay.
Well, before we move on, I just wanted to add that I wouldn't want to be the guy that pisses off the a woman dwarf.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Oh God. Don't piss off a female dwarf. She will
Yeah.
get her whole clan on you.
Not only that,
Um,
instead of throwing a shoe, maybe swing a hammer.
Yeah, and swing a hammer. And the picture's right there to prove it.
Yeah.
So next up, you got clans and kingdoms. Dwarven kingdoms stretch deep beneath the mountains, where the dwarves mine gems and precious metals and forge items of wonder. They love the beauty and artistry of precious metals and fine jewelry, and in some dwarves, this love festers into avarice. Whatever wealth they can't find in their mountains, they gain through trade. They dislike boats, so enterprising humans and halflings frequently handle trade in dwarven goods along water routes. Trustworthy members of other races are welcome in dwarven settlements, though some areas are off limits even to them. The chief unit of dwarven society is the clan, and dwarves highly value social standing. Even dwarves who live far from their own kingdoms cherish their clan identities and affiliations, recognize related dwarves, and invoke their ancestors' names in oaths and curses. To be clanless is the worst fate that can befall a dwarf. Dwarves in other lands are typically artisans, especially weaponsmiths, armorers, and jewelers. Some become mercenaries or bodyguards, highly sought after for their courage and loyalty. So that, to me, that really is what, the first thing I think about with a dwarf is their beard. The second thing I think about is how they love to mine and find gems and stuff like that, and stonework. So and I like how they put in here that they dislike boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
It's good to know if you play dwarf.
Yeah, so
Or
if you
play
play
a
dwarf
character.
and you want to RP, that your dwarf is one of those that doesn't like boats, that could be interesting. So next up, they have Gods, Gold, and Clan. Dwarves who take up the adventuring life might be motivated by a desire for treasure, for its own sake, for a specific purpose, or even out of an altruistic desire to help others. Other dwarves are driven by the command or inspiration of a deity, a direct calling, or simply a desire to bring glory to one of the dwarven gods. Clan and ancestry are also important motivators. A dwarf might seek to restore a clan's lost honor, avenge an ancient wrong the clan suffered, or earn a new place within the clan after having been exiled. Or a dwarf might search for the axe wielded by a mighty ancestor lost on the field of battle centuries ago. So yeah, it says there pretty much that they don't like to leave their mountains, but when they do, it's usually for riches, gods, or a clan related,
Well,
go. You know what I mean?
why would they want to leave their mountains? I mean, it's the mountains are like a natural
It's what they know.
resource.
Yeah,
for
it's a
many things.
natural resource. Sure. You know, but
Obviously,
there's
don't like water,
always that
so-
saying they always dig too deep.
That is true.
You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
You know, if you hit a volcanic or thing,
Well,
you never
anything,
know.
really, you never know. So then up at the right here, it has a little thing where it talks about how they feel about the other races. It says here, slow to trust. Dwarves get along passably well with most other races. The difference between an acquaintance and a friend is about 100 years, is the dwarf saying that might be hyperbole. But certainly points to how difficult it can be for a member of a short-lived race like humans to earn a dwarf's trust. It says here for the elves, this is what they think about the elves. It's not wise to depend on the elves, no telling what an elf will do next. When the hammer meets the orc's head, they're as apt to start singing as to pull out a sword. They're flighty and frivolous. Two things to be said for them, though. They don't have many smiths, but the ones they have do very fine work. And when orcs or goblins come streaming down out of the mountains, an elf's good to have at your back. Not as good as a dwarf, maybe, but no doubt they hate the orcs as much as we do. So they basically, it's like the enemy of the enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
You know?
So they really, I do like that they mention that they don't like orcs or they don't like goblins. Both
Yeah.
races.
Yep.
Kind of. It basically says.
And then it says for like a halfling, say sure they're pleasant folk, but show me a halfling hero, an empire, a triumphant army, even a treasure for the ages made by halfling hands. Nothing. How can you take them seriously? So they really kind of look at the halflings like they're a joke.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
100% on that.
Yeah. I would too.
Then it talks about the humans, how they feel about them. You take the time to get to know a human, and by then the human's on her deathbed. If you're lucky, she's got kin, a daughter or granddaughter maybe, who's got hands and a heart as good as hers. That's when you can make a human friend and watch them go. They set their hearts on something and they'll get it, whether it's a dragon's hoard or an empire's throne. You have to admire that kind of dedication, even if it gets them in trouble more often than not. So they kind of have a respect for the humans, I feel like, but they're too short-lived to really be worth making friends.
Sure, they have very
Unless
little friends.
they gotta prove themselves pretty much.
Yeah.
I wonder how many friends they actually come across then. You know, since they're, the humans have such a short lifespan because, compared to them,
Right.
obviously.
You're wondering how many are friends with dwarves?
How many
vice
friends?
versa.
Yeah, how many friends dwarves actually come across in their lifetime? That would be, maybe 4, if that.
Yeah, human
depending.
friends.
Yeah, because it takes them 100.
Yeah, I could see that. So then we go to the next page, and it talks about the dwarves' names. And basically, when you start your dwarf, you want to think about your name. That's what everybody likes to think about. And they give you some little inspiration here with male names, female names, and clan names. Me personally, I like to use a website called Fantasy Name Generator. And I like searching around those. They got a wider array. I know you guys have used it as well.
Anytime.
Sometimes, depending on the race and what class you choose, I do want to say if you're going to choose a race and you want to give your character a unique name.
Yeah, like a roguey type name.
Yeah, go for
Right.
something along your class line. Don't go just for what dwarves
Some
are.
sort of a mixture.
Yeah.
I think though
Because when you were born, they weren't like, he's a rogue.
No,
You know
but
what I mean?
no,
Yeah.
but
Like, we're going to call him Dagger Fang or something like that. They're I
no,
don't think they would-
nothing exotic like that. I'm saying
Yeah.
like you would choose something like, for example, say like if Griffin was one of the names on there, you would go, okay, I like that name Griffin, and then you can come in here and choose like a clan name as your last
Right.
name or something.
I like this one, the Battle Hammer, for the clan name.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be a clan name? So like,
Well, if you read up here,
It's
if
like
you're gonna
almost
read
like
it-
your clan name is like your last name.
Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys can read the little introduction on names in the player's
yeah,
handbook.
but with the clan names, wouldn't if something happened to them, wouldn't that be taken? Right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
says the dwarf's name is granted by a clan elder in accordance with tradition. Every proper dwarf name has been used and reused down through the generations. A dwarf's name belongs to the clan, not to the individual. A dwarf who misuses or brings shame to a clan name is stripped of the name and forbidden by law to use any dwarven name in its place.
Well,
So yeah, you could lose your name and then become like he said, like a dagger fang or something.
Wouldn't
like that.
that's just dwarf law though? That's not like,
Right? If you break, yeah.
Yeah, but if you remember earlier in the introduction that we were doing, they said that, they abide by the law almost 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
it's-
pretty-
you're shamed pretty much if you don't follow the
Right.
law.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying like if you were shamed and cast it out, you lose your name, obviously. But
Yeah.
you can come across another name
Right.
probably
Oh, yeah.
just as easily.
Yeah, it just can't be your
Just
dwarven
can't
clan
be.
name. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
You
So
can keep
then,
your first name.
yeah. So then next up, it talks about the traits, and these are things that you'll get if you're a dwarf. These are just the straight base dwarf traits, and then they've got 2 sub races. But the basic dwarf traits, just being a dwarf, you get +2 to your constitution, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
They usually other races will give you like a +1. That's a +2. It's every little bit helps.
Oh, yeah.
It goes over the age again. Talks about how maturity is at the age of 50, and they live about 350 years. But earlier it said they can live as long as 400. So then it says here with the alignment, like you guys were talking about with the lawful, it talks about how most dwarves are lawful, believing firmly in the benefits of a well-ordered society. They tend toward good as well, with a strong sense of fair play and a belief that everyone deserves a share in the benefits of a just order. So they're very anti-tyrannical. The size, it talks about their size. They're between 4 and 5 feet tall and about on average 150 pounds. And you count as medium when you play. Your speed is a base walking speed of 25, but your speed is not reduced by wearing heavy armor. So that's not bad. I mean,
Yeah. That's actually really
the
good.
25 kind of stinks, but the fact that you can wear heavy armor and still move 25.
But most
It's good.
races have a base walking speed of 25. Most of the time.
No, most have 30.
It's usually the shorter
Yeah, so
races
they're short.
that have.
They're short by 5. Most of the shorter races, like gnome.
I thought it was 25 most of the time.
No,
I know gnome, dwarf, and I believe halfling also have 25.
So then they also get dark vision because they're accustomed to that underground dim light conditions. You could see within 60 feet as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim. You can't discern color in darkness, though. It's only shades of gray.
But
so
that's
a little
complete
RP
darkness.
element
Yeah.
to it.
But that's always a
yeah,
good
that's
thing.
complete darkness. But
So-
you can still see. You can still see, so
Right.
that's a bonus to me.
Dark vision in itself is awesome. An awesome trait to have.
But that could come into play, if you're in the pitch dark and there's some sort of
Monster.
puzzle with a color or something that your DM has made or something like that. Maybe they're all gray and they all look
Yeah.
gray.
I
And you
mean,
can't figure it out until you light a
we've-
torch.
Right, I was just about to say, you
And
can always
then,
light
yeah,
a torch.
yeah.
We've come
for
across
You
it.
can see that it's colors.
Yeah, we've come
we've
across
come
it.
across stuff like that.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
So then they get Dwarven resilience. You have advantage on saving throws against poison, and you have resistance against poison damage, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
You never know.
You know,
Never know when
it's
somebody's...
never good to be poisoned.
Right.
Yeah, so to have that as a race trait, not bad. Then they get Dwarven
I just read that.
combat training.
Some of the stuff's interesting in that.
You have proficiency with the battle axe, hand axe, light hammer, and war hammer, which, yeah, I'd picture any dwarf being able to have that.
Wield
Yeah,
especially
Any of
Warhammer.
those. I like the war hammer. Some people like the battle axe. you know?
I kind of would go, actually, dwarf, you know, I kind of like the either a light hammer or maybe hand axes, maybe, you know, to make them more equipable to be able
Yeah,
to swing
your
more.
dwarf actually has hand axes.
Yeah.
Well, the light hammer, wouldn't you be able, if you had a two-style fighting?
It's essentially like the hand axe, but with
Yeah,
bludgeoning.
it's smaller
and
than
different
Yeah,
so-
basically.
Yeah. But it's small like that. You can
Yeah,
throw a
Warhammer
hammer.
is the big hammer
Right.
like you see in the
Two-handed.
picture.
Right. So then you get tool proficiency. You gain proficiency with the artisan's tools of your choice, smith's tools, brewer's supplies, or mason's tools.
I didn't choose one yet for mine.
Yeah, so you get to
'Cause
choose
we just,
one.
We just fixed
of
our
those.
game.
Yep. The brewer's you'd be the drunk dwarf.
That'd be me.
Well,
But even if you don't pick the mason's tools, you get stone cunning, which gives you, whenever you make an intelligent history check related to the origin of stonework, you are considered proficient in the history skill and add double your proficiency to the check instead of your normal proficiency bonus.
good
So-
to know.
So
Always good to have.
even though you can't work with the stone, you know what it's made of and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Right, and not only that.
Well,
you
not
know,
all the time. I guess you still have the chance of failing that, but
I mean, yeah, it's a low chance, but
right. So then their languages, you can speak, read, and write Common and Dwarvish. Dwarvish is full of hard consonants and guttural sounds, and those characteristics spill over into whatever other language a dwarf might speak. So that's why I was saying they kind of sound like Scottish. We
Yeah.
were talking about it earlier. I think I think a little Scottish, something like
Yeah, I
that.
didn't...
So then
maybe
it says
even Australian almost too. Maybe a mixture.
an Australian dwarf, maybe.
Maybe
I
a
would
mixture,
think
or
That would
maybe,
be like
maybe
the
a
hill
French,
dwarf.
maybe a French Canadian or something.
French Canadian. I think you're pushing it now.
You're pushing it now. So then they'd say about, like I said, the two sub races. So first off, they start with the hill dwarf. As a hill dwarf, you
The
have keen
Irish dwarf.
senses, deep intuition, and remarkable resilience. The gold dwarves of Faerun in their mighty southern kingdoms are hill dwarves, as are the exiled Nidar and the debased Clar of Kryn in the Dragonlance setting. So sorry if I mispronounced some of those. But from that you get the ability score increase with Wisdom +1. So you would get Constitution 2 and Wisdom 1. And then on top of that you would get your hit point maximum increases by 1, and it increases by 1 every time you gain a level, which I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. What do you guys think about Hill Dwarf?
Oh, that's
You
pretty
guys
good.
like the
actually.
Hill Dwarf?
I think I might go with the next one.
I mean,
I'm the next one too. I think that I'm the next one, and the next one is Mountain Dwarf. As a Mountain Dwarf, you're strong and hardy, accustomed to a difficult life in rugged terrain. You're probably on the tall side for a dwarf and tend toward lighter coloration. The Shield Dwarves of Northern Faerun, as well as the ruling Hylar clan and the noble Daewar clan of Dragonlance, are mountain dwarves. So you get ability score, your strength goes up by 2. So now you got a 2 and a 2.
Yeah. And
You
there's
know,
nothing wrong with
if you're
strength.
going with a fighter class or a barbarian, even, you know, that's key.
You got constitution, con. You got strength.
Right.
Both too.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you get dwarven armor training. You have proficiency with light and medium armor, so you can wear medium armor, wield a warhammer, have a 2 in strength and a 2 in
Well, didn't it
constitution,
say
and
you
not
could
even
wear
have a
heavy
class
armor
yet.
though too?
Yeah.
As it just
Just
for
as
being
being
a
a
dwarf?
dwarf. Huh?
Just for being a dwarf. Can't you also wear heavy armor?
No, just light
I
and
thought
medium.
it said in here.
No, it says your speed's not slowed by heavy armor.
Yeah. You don't get heavy armor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But you have two.
So then at the end here, it gives also a blurb about the Durgar. In the cities deep in the Underdark live the Durgar, or Grey Dwarves. These vicious, stealthy slave traders raid the surface world for captives, then sell their prey to the other races of the Underdark. They have an innate magical abilities to become invisible and to temporarily grow to size. So here's where I kind of thought the dwarves got a little screwed.
Yeah.
The Durgar, they just give a blurb about, but they don't give they don't give a stat increase or anything
Is it in
in
this?
additional to that. No, it's not. But the elf, however, has drow that you can pick, which I think they kind of stiffed the dwarf on that. But if you have a DM that's cool or willing to bend stuff, he could always work with you to make a Durgar. Definitely. Yep, definitely.
If I was to choose a Durgar, I'd probably possibly even make him the almost like a shadow monk maybe, and do like a
The monk way the
Nightcrawler
shadows.
type.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what the increase is, and we will get to that eventually. We will get to a Durgar eventually. But right now we're in player PHB. We're covering races. Any final thoughts on the dwarf?
No, I think we covered it all.
There were some things I didn't hear about that I thought they should have added in, like maybe like more of a description on like their features, maybe like.
Well, yeah, I think they covered that pretty well. I think one thing they didn't add that I always think of with the dwarf, like I say, beard, gems, and then the third is always that ale. They always liked it. They did talk about social
That's right.
interactions, but they
talk
didn't
about
mention that they're. In my mind, they're big drinkers.
Do you think it's because
They don't have to be, I guess, but.
I mean, I wonder if they did that just to try and like, almost like almost like for an everyone kind of book maybe,
Right.
or maybe like, they probably tried to do it and then maybe when they went to go try and get it published, it gave them problems.
I don't know.
I don't think that.
I don't think so.
But I mean, the one thing I wanted to say about that was every game I've seen that have dwarfs in it, in a pub, in a bar, you always see at least one or two dwarfs.
Yeah, you always see a
Always.
dwarf in a pub.
Yeah. At least one. And they're the ones that usually, when fights break out, they're usually the ones that are at the bar, and they smash the bottles
Right.
over the head of the people that
They always start the bar fight.
Well, maybe not start the bar fight, but they're the ones
They
at the
definitely
bar.
end it.
They end it.
Anyway, so that's what Dwarves are all about. Next up, we'll be talking about the elf. But until next time, remember, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And comment below if you want to see anything different or see us do it differently. Give us your inputs. Let us know what you think. Until next time, I'm DM Dan.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Matt.
And we are Titans of Tabletop.
Later, guys.
See you later.